source in banking, opportunities and innovations for the financial industry. So let's start with the company, because a lot of here from the banks, but we are Dashdevs, we are a software development company and fintech consultancy. We do quite a lot in different regions, and today I'm going to talk about our experience and how we see the banking sector can be benefit from what's going on the market in software engineering. So as a company, we have around 12 years of hands-on experience creating different solutions in different regions. We also have own product which is called FinTech Core, which gives us the ability to reduce the time to the market for MEIs and fintechs. We deliver quite a lot of fintech products into various regions, like banking projects, wallets, and other infrastructure. And we do quite a lot on customer-facing side as mobile applications in that. And we have the head office in the United States, Wellington, but we also have the sales office in London, and right now we're quite active in Europe. So let's see how this experience will benefit in this region. So a little bit about me. I jumped into the industry quite a long time ago. I wrote the first application in '98, and I started working as an engineer from 2004. So for several decades, I saw the industry evolving and becoming more professional and delivering more. Everyone is talking about AI and blockchain, talking that the industry will change, that AI will change the developers. But frankly speaking, it was happening all the time before. Like in the early 20s, everyone was saying that engineers are no longer needed because large corporations as Microsoft, they become with new technologies and it's so easy to create something new. And frankly, the technologies are giving new tools to engineers, and it's always the question what are all those developers are delivering as products, how the end customers benefiting from that. And I've been participating sometimes in projects for our customers, from a product perspective or technology, making sure that we can deliver the best product to the market. One of the cases that we actually delivered is a challenger bank dozens in UK. We delivered the platform which is called Fireball. It's banking as a service, and it was a fun journey for us as a company because the holding company Project Imagine gave us the full technical responsibility how the platform should be structured. And it's quite an interesting journey because if you would like to build something from the scratch to host an AI company with the balances, card issue, there is no proper way how to do it. No one explained you because in 2018 there wasn't so much choice for the vendors and no clear explanation how to do that. And as a company, we did quite nice job because we delivered completely from the scratch in 9 months, full-fledged bank with the 2 native applications and 24 integrations. So we had the full automated KYC process, 90 seconds from typing your phone and then getting into the account, card issuing with the multiple cards support, and which is nice, the company has MiFID II, which gives an ability to trade bonds and portfolios on the same platform. So basically, it's super app with the 4 applications in one, everyday banking, budgeting, bond selling and buying proposition, and ETFs. And that's quite interesting because we learned that there is no really public information if you would like to create complex solution. There is no clear information which paths to follow, how to compare vendor, why modular finance is different from Clearbank or other solutions. Today we heard about Paganex, that's another vendor. So it really takes certain experience for engineers to take the tool and properly apply for your case as a product. Another interesting case that we learned a lot is Tarbit Gateway. That's a company in Middle East in Bahrain. That's one of the companies who got the first open banking license in Bahrain, and we helped them to implement the open banking infrastructure for the whole country. In this case, we communicated with all commercial banks. We integrated the payment initiation procedures for this product and account aggregation. And once again, we saw that it's kind of a gray area because we were the first one to integrate and implement this product on the market, and there is no clear path or information how it should be structured from the technology side or even from the product side. So educating and learning with the client too. and what we think the modern bank is today. So what we see that Quicken Hello split it into four buckets: product and services, branch network, ATM network, and digital banking. And fairly, we see that everyone is nowadays more competing in digital banking because networks are going down, ATM, they still in use, but even here in Greece, I don't think that anyone went to ATM to get the cash. Everyone is using Uber, everything is sitting in your pocket. So in my understanding, nowadays the banks, they become to compete in digital space. So you definitely have branches in certain regions with legislation which is pushing you to do the KYC in the branch with the real person. But if you take a look larger scope, all the banks and financial institutions, they're pure digital. So in this case, one of the example is that almost 93% in UK market, people are using the penetration is that 93% of the customers, they're using the digital way to access their bank. So they barely go into the branches, they barely communicate with other physical presence of the bank. Whatever they see is a digital product. And I think it gives a really good understanding where we're heading to, like what will go on in 5 or 10 years. Are we going to see even branches? Maybe it's going to be as a showrooms for retailers, for the shops, but not a supermarket that you go daily. So how it's connected with open source? Let's find out. So open source is referred to software development and distribution model that emphasizes transparency and collaboration and community-driven development. And I think if you think about open source in banking industry, it's scarce because no one knows who is building it, what is there. But I think the situation is quite opposite because working with the vendors, we saw quite a lot of issues from technology side, like even certain situations which might affect the licenses of our clients because, for instance, one of the EMI at certain moments started to get full pins to the settlement service, which is definitely the break of the license. And the issue is that we're not controlling this part of the vendor, and we're using their product without knowing who is deploying, when is deploying, what are the changes, which is totally different from open source, because if you're using open source products, you can technically check what's going on there and totally be in control of your production, updates, and whatever is happening. And I think the benefits, which is transparency, collaboration, community-driven development, is really essential for banking industry because that's what we're looking for. We would like to have the best solution. And if you cannot really take a look at what's going on in the product, how you can make sure that it's actually transparent, that there is no backdoors, that there is no bugs, which will affect the customers and your license. And the second part is collaboration is really important because the solutions are becoming so complex that there is no single organization who can address everything. So today I heard a lot about white labeling products, but it's not only about products, it's about the technology too, because when you take in the white labeling, sometimes it's integration with APIs, and redeveloping certain parts once again and once again. So another advantage is a no vendor lock and possibility to do the customization, because once again today I heard a lot that sometimes we take in the service and we cannot change it because it's long pipeline for our partner or for the vendor. So with the open source, actually you can do customizations quite easy. And collaborative development, I think it's quite good benefits for open source. So let's take a look on the different angle, like on the micro level impact, because let's assume that we're using something from open source in the banking industry. And one of the benefits is it's ready to use because the technologies which are community driven, they usually in a state that you don't need to customize for yourself. It's standardized and you can use it out of the box. Usually it's a proven solution because lots of other companies are using it. There is a knowledge how to use it, how properly structure it for yourself. And use of support. So in this case, you have a community who can help you with understanding how to use the technology. So it sounds pretty good, but let's take a look on the products that you might even heard already. Who have heard about Kubernetes? I think your IT guys always talking about it, but who knows it? Okay, so do you know what it does? So engineers are lazy. They try to not reinvent the wheel. And we are dealing with a lot of performance and customers' requests. So how would you make sure that your product is scalable? And the engineers come up with a really smart idea, which is clustering. So if you would like to serve an API which gives a balance to the customer, the best way is to multiply it. So if you have 1,000 customers coming to a service, you have a cluster which is serving all those requests. And this technology is called Kubernetes. So it allows to run multiple hundred thousands of your code to make sure that you can give all the information required to your clients. And Kubernetes is a really good example of community-driven open source solution because this is built by cloud computing organization, which parent company is Linux Foundation. And you can technically, as a big company, and quite a good example because there is a set of the companies who are maintainers and committing the code. And that's an example when Kubernetes is used everywhere. Starting from Apple Store, like while you install an applications, you run in your infrastructure, lots of companies benefiting it. But the source is open. You can take a look how it works. You can understand how it delivers the functions, but you cannot amend the changes, so it's protected, and it gives really good sense of the scalability. And the modern internet really depends on this technology, because if you wipe out, a lot of services will be totally different, and the ability to serve as many clients as we serve today will be really hard to imagine. Another good example of open source is React. Who heard about this technology? Engineers also? Yeah, so everyone, I think, heard once in a while this word. It means that's an open source platform for creating websites. So engineers come up with another idea how you structure the code for the web applications. It gives an ability to deliver more functionality with less time and better way to support the code. And once again, the company Facebook, that's a parent company who invented this framework, they made it open source, which means you can take a look, you can see what's going on, what are the plans for updating, and that is supported. Engineers, and that's maybe the best part of the open source community, there are a lot of experts who knows how to use it. So you no longer think about like a local framework for building your applications, using proven solutions. And Bitcoin, I think everyone knows. And today, I'm not going to talk about the technology. It's more from a community perspective, because in my understanding, one of the idea why Bitcoin becomes so popular, because it's trusted, it's open source. You are not depending on one company who developed it or delivered it. You can see the repository, and that's why there is so many clones. You can technically go to the sources and create your own blockchain out of it. And that builds the trust. And I think in banks, it's really important to make sure that your customers trust in you. And if you build it on certain level from open source, that gives a trust. Another level to take a look is micro level. I don't think that that's covered enough, because when engineers are developing, they're not creating everything from the scratch. So we're not re-implementing or reinventing the builds, because if you say, okay, we have a tight deadlines, we have to deliver a lot of functionality in a short period of time, then engineers are reusing the code. On micro level, engineers are using packages, libraries, which are already developed. And one of the really good example is Realm. That's a database, a cloud database for mobile applications, and Monzo is using it a lot. They're not reinventing the wheel, they invested in the technology, which gives an ability to use it for everyone. And in this case, they're benefiting by growing the community and benefiting for building faster and better solutions. Another really good example that I really like is open source from PayPal is Card.io. So we have all applications in financial sector, one way or another, they give an ability to read the card numbers. Believe me, if you go to your engineer and say, okay, we need to pick up the numbers out of the card, how long it will take? Someone will come up with the answers, someone will say, we will buy the solution, but come on, there is open source which you can use, and that integration takes, I don't know, hours. And that's once again, the really good example when we have really good cases which happen for all of us, and we can benefit if we invest into the community, and community doing the solutions that works for us. So that's, in my understanding, the real life of the technology, because we're using the blocks, and we're building complex solutions more than infrastructure. And then, in the end of the day, there is a small block of someone maintaining the library from, I don't know, from ages, and doing this for free. And no one actually giving a look on this situation from this case. And I think what banks can do to make sure that we compete with the fintechs is to invest more into the communities and open source, because in this case, the banks will become more of a platform rather than competitors to fintechs, because fintechs then will reuse the platforms. And by building open source, I think it's a possibility for the banks to be more stable and growing more. So another thing which should be in consideration is the difference between complicated and complex. And my understanding will always tend to mix up those two things, because if we would like to build a new product, no one really distinguish what is complex and what is complicated. And in our experience, what we are trying to do, we do as many work and as hard as we can in complicated field, because as a company, we can decouple, and already today it was discussed already, we can decouple the things and do many steps to achieve certain results, which is complicated. But if you would like to solve the complex problem, an issue is that there is no defined number of steps, or even the steps are quite unclear. And that's, I think, where communities come into the help, because you can pick up the brain not only from your team, but from the community. And sometimes in the community, you have already the solutions, all the ways to solve the certain issues. And there were quite a lot of cases where this helped for industry, like Linux. It's open source platform, open source operating system. And I think they solve all the complex cases that you can even imagine with a better adoption than other platforms. And today, I'm talking about this because we started the project which is called FinTech Garden. It's a community, and what we want to do as a company, we want to digitize the technical and financial knowledge, because there is not enough information how to do properly things in FinTech and banks, and no proper comparison, because if I'm going to matter A, B, or C, what are the real advantages? Because whatever you get is marketing information. And if you take a look at any product, it does everything, and it does better than other companies. So we would like to build the community where we're sharing the details and we're doing the cases and proper highlighting the possibilities of the products. We also doing the analysis of the ecosystem and provide the visibility in industry, like what are the cases, how to properly use a specific technology or the vendor. We would like to educate not only the people from fintechs, but also other people. And that's what we saw from our history, because if you go to the internet and try to search how best to use a certain platform, you will not find much information, and you have to learn from mistakes. But this should be changed, because if more people understand how to use technology, how to use and how properly to build products, like today's example with the documents, it's quite simple when you have an experience. You understand that if you are doing automation of the chaos, the result will be automated chaos. And you need to structure the things first and then automate. And believe me, there is not much information about that in proper way in the internet. Whatever you can see is more, use our technology is the best, and that's it. So let's build contact community together. You can join with this form, and we just started our website and LinkedIn page. So we're going to share the latest news and information how to help the community. So please join if you're interested. And thank you. That's it. So you can always connect with me by email or call, and then we can discuss any things. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.